I had just retired when my daughter-in-law called. I'm going to drop my 3 kids off with you. After all, you don't do anything anymore, so you can watch them while I travel. I just smiled and hung up on her. I decided to teach her a lesson she would never forget. When she got back from her trip, the kids hid behind me. The silence that followed was deafening. In that moment, with the phone still shaking in my hand, I made the most important decision of my 67 years. I was going to teach her a lesson she would never forget. But let me tell you from the beginning, because what happened when she came back from her trip, with the kids hiding behind me, and the silence that followed, that was only the end of a story that started much earlier. My name is Hope Smith. 35 years of teaching at Franklin Elementary in a suburb of Chicago had prepared me to deal with difficult children, complicated parents, and impossible situations. But nothing, absolutely nothing, had prepared me for Valerie. That afternoon, I was sitting in my living room, enjoying my second day of retirement. Do you know what it's like to work since you were 22 years old and finally, at 67, have time for yourself? I had been waiting for this moment my entire life. My table was covered in brochures: San Francisco, Denver, San Diego, places I had always dreamed of visiting but never could. First, it was raising Robert alone after his father died in that bus accident, and then it was years of sacrifice to give him an education. The phone rang at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I saw Valerie's name on the screen and hesitated to answer. Whenever she called, it was to ask for something. Hope, she began without even saying hello. She never called me mother-in-law, much less mum. I have this incredible opportunity in Miami. It's a multi-level marketing conference that's going to change our lives. Multi-level marketing. Another one of her pyramid schemes where she always lost money. The kids can't miss 2 weeks of school, she continued, so I'm leaving them with you. I'm sorry. My voice came out as a whisper. Oh, don't pretend you can't hear me, she said. I said I'm dropping off Diego, Sophia, and Matthew with you. You don't do anything anymore, so you can watch them while I travel. It's perfect, she added. Now that you don't work, you have all the time in the world. I don't do anything anymore. I felt my blood boil. This woman, who had never worked an honest day in her life and lived off my son like a parasite, was telling me that I didn't do anything. Valerie, I have plans. Plans? She laughed that high-pitched laugh I so detested. What plans can an old retired woman have? Knitting? Watching soap operas? Please, Hope, don't be ridiculous. I'll drop them off tomorrow at 7 in the morning, she said. And don't give them junk food like last time. The last time. The last time I saw my grandkids was 6 months ago, at Christmas, and only for 2 hours because, according to her, they had to go to their other grandparents' house. The important ones, the ones who have money. I'm not going to watch them, Valerie. What do you mean you're not? You're their grandmother. It's your duty. Besides, Robert agrees. Lies. I was sure my son didn't even know about this. He worked 14-hour days at the factory to support this woman's whims. If you ever want to see your grandkids again, you'd better cooperate, she threatened, because I decide if they have a grandma or not. And that's when something in me broke. Or rather, something in me woke up. If you knew me, you'd know that Ms. Smith never stayed silent in the face of injustice, and this woman had just declared war on me. All right, Valerie, I said with the sweetest voice I could fake. Bring them over tomorrow. That's more like it, she said. And don't spoil them. You know they're difficult kids, but that's because you never knew how to raise Robert. If he had a decent mother, I hung up before she could finish the sentence. I sat there, looking at my framed retirement certificate on the wall. 35 years of shaping generations, and my own daughter-in-law was treating me like a free servant. But if I learned anything in all those years, it's that the best lessons aren't taught with words. I took my cell phone and dialed a number I hadn't used in years. Carol? I asked. Yes, it's Hope. I need your help. Do you remember what you told me about the hidden recorders you used in your divorce? Perfect. And one more thing. Does your sister still work for Child Protective Services? Excellent. I hung up and poured myself a cup of chamomile tea. Tomorrow, the real education would begin, but it wouldn't be for the kids. Valerie was about to learn the most important lesson of her life. Never, ever underestimate a retired teacher with free time and a desire for justice. If you're enjoying this story and want to keep discovering how a determined grandmother can change the fate of an entire family, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any details of what's to come. Because believe me, this is just the beginning. I couldn't sleep that night. As I tossed and turned in bed, the memories of 35 years hit me like waves against the rocks. How did we get to this point? How did I let my own family treat me like old furniture that's only useful when they need it? It all started when Robert was just 3 years old. His father, my Michael, left one rainy October morning for work. The bus went off the road on the curves of Hope. The irony of the name, right? 23 people were killed. Michael was the 24th passenger, but he survived for 3 days in the hospital. 3 days during which I spent our 5 years of savings trying to save him. Take care of our son, were his last words. Make him a good man. And boy, did I try. I was left with $800 in the bank account, a 3-year-old boy, and a teaching degree. The first few years were a living hell I wouldn't wish on anyone. I worked double shifts, mornings at the public school and afternoons giving private lessons. Robert ate before me. If there was money for a pair of shoes, they were for him. If there was enough left over for a toy for his birthday, I would pretend I wasn't hungry that night. My mother, God rest her soul, used to say, "Hope you're going to kill yourself working like this. Find another husband, someone who can provide for you." But I would look at my Robert, with those same brown eyes as his father, and I knew that no stepfather would love him like I did. No stranger would give him the love that I could give him. So I kept going, alone. The sacrifices were endless. I remember one Christmas when Robert was 8 years old. I had saved for 6 months to buy him the bike he wanted so badly. On the night of December 24th, while he was sleeping, I realized I didn't have enough for Christmas dinner. I sold my only ring besides my wedding band, a family heirloom from my grandmother, for $300 so I could make the traditional holiday meal. Robert never knew. To him, his mother was invincible. His mother could do anything, and that's how it had to be. When he got to high school, the expenses multiplied. Books, uniforms, bus fare, supplies. I continued with my double shifts, but now I also sold tamales on Sundays in the church courtyard. Look at my hands, wrinkled, stained, with swollen joints from kneading dough at 4 in the morning. But it was all worth it when Robert got into college. Industrial engineering at UCLA. I was overflowing with pride. My son, the son of the widow Smith, the one who grew up without a father, was going to be an engineer. It was his junior year when Valerie appeared. "Mom, I want you to meet someone special," he said one Sunday after church. There she was, in her pastel pink dress, her perfect smile, her shiny black hair falling in waves over her shoulders. She looked like a porcelain doll. She hugged me with a warmth that completely disarmed me. "Oh, Mrs. Smith, Robert has told me so much about you. I admire you so much, raising such a wonderful son all by yourself. You're my hero." How could I not fall for her trap? I, who had spent 20 years without a sincere hug that wasn't from my son, suddenly had this pretty girl calling me her hero. The first few years were good, I won't lie. Valerie would come over, help me cook, and tell me about her humble family from the country. Her father was a construction worker, her mother sold burritos. "That's why I understand you so well, Mrs. Smith," she would say. "You and I know what it's like to struggle." Lies. It was all a lie, but I was so happy to see Robert in love that I didn't want to see the signs. They got married when Robert graduated. I paid for half of the wedding with my retirement savings. "It's an investment in my son's happiness," I justified to myself. Valerie cried tears of joy, or so I thought then. Now I know she was crying because she was hoping for a more luxurious wedding. The change was gradual, like poison administered in small doses. First came the subtle comments. "Oh, mother-in-law, it's a shame Robert didn't have a father figure. It shows in his lack of ambition. If you had saved better, Robert would have gone to a private university. No offense, but your food is too simple. I make mine with more ingredients, more gourmet." Each comment was a small stab, but I endured them. For Robert. Always for Robert. When Diego, my first grandchild, was born, I thought things would get better. I rushed to the hospital with the blanket I had knitted for 9 months. Valerie looked at it and put it to the side. "Thanks, but we already have everything from Nordstrom. This, well, we can donate it." Nordstrom. While I was still buying my clothes at the flea market to save for my son's future, she was shopping at Nordstrom with Robert's salary. Then came Sophia and Matthew. With each grandchild, I was pushed farther away. Valerie had 1,000 excuses. The kids needed a routine. I would spoil them. My house wasn't safe for children. My parenting ideas were old-fashioned. "You just don't understand, mother-in-law," she told me once. "Kids nowadays need early stimulation, English classes, swimming lessons, robotics. Not just rice and beans like Robert grew up on." Rice and beans. My son grew up with love, with values, with the certainty that he was loved. But Valerie had started her campaign to push me away. And Robert? Robert was too tired from working to notice. The hardest blow came 2 years ago. It was Sophia's 5th birthday. I had saved for 3 months to buy her the dollhouse she had seen at the mall. I arrived at their house with the wrapped gift and my best dress. The party was in the backyard. There was a bouncy house, clowns, even a princess show, and I wasn't on the guest list. "Oh, mother-in-law, what a shame," Valerie said at the door without letting me in. "It's just a party for her school friends and their parents. You understand? It's different people." Uncomfortable. The birthday girl's grandmother was going to make these different people uncomfortable. I saw Robert in the back, playing with the kids. He didn't look up. He knew I was there, and he did nothing. I left with my dollhouse and cried all the way home. That night I donated it to the orphanage. At least there it would be appreciated. And now, after all this, after years of humiliations and disrespect, Valerie wanted me to be her free nanny, as if all the pain she had caused me could be erased with the snap of a finger when she needed me. But what Valerie didn't know was that Ms. Smith had learned much more than math and English in 35 years. She had learned child psychology, studied dysfunctional families, and seen hundreds of cases of narcissistic mothers who use their children as weapons. And most importantly, she had learned to wait for the perfect moment to act. I looked at the clock. It was 3 in the morning. In 4 hours, Valerie would be knocking on my door with 3 kids who barely knew me. 3 kids who had been trained to see me as the poor grandma, the boring grandma, the grandma who wasn't worth the effort. I smiled in the dark. If I knew how to do one thing after so many years, it was to transform kids. And these 3 were about to discover who their grandmother, Hope, really was. At 7 o'clock sharp, the doorbell rang. Not 7:05, not 7:10. Valerie was always punctual when it suited her. I opened the door and there they were, 3 kids with unfriendly faces and suitcases bigger than they were. I don't have time to chat, Valerie said, not even crossing the threshold. Diego has a dust allergy, Sophia won't eat anything with green vegetables, and Matthew needs his iPad to fall asleep. Their medicine is in the blue suitcase, she added. I'll be back in 2 weeks. And Robert? Isn't he coming to say goodbye to his kids? Robert is at work, as always, she said. Someone has to support this family. She looked me up and down. Not everyone is lucky enough to retire with a government pension. My pension, $850 a month after 35 years of service. Valerie spent more than that on her nails and eyelash extensions. The kids shuffled in. Diego, 12 years old, with his cell phone glued to his face. Sophia, 10, with a permanent grimace of disgust. And Matthew, 7, already looking for where the TV was. Behave with your grandmother, Valerie said without any conviction. Then she came closer and whispered, and don't you dare fill their heads with ideas. Remember that I decide if they get to see you again or not. She left without saying goodbye to her children. Not a kiss, not a hug. Just the sound of her heels walking away and the engine of her brand new SUV. I stood there with 3 kids who looked at me as if I were the enemy. And then I remembered all the moments when Valerie had built this wall between us, like that time 3 years ago, when I wanted to give Robert $500 for a down payment on a used car. Valerie intercepted the money. Oh, mother-in-law, it's better if we use it for the kids' school tuition. Education comes first, don't you think? I never saw a receipt for that tuition. A month later, Valerie showed up with a brand new Louis Vuitton purse. A friend gave it to me, she said when I asked. A friend? Of course. Or when my sister Rose died and left me $5,000. I excitedly told Robert, thinking I could finally fix the leak in my roof that dripped every rainy season. Valerie found out. Mother-in-law, Robert and I are in a difficult situation. The company where I work went bankrupt, another one of her failed multi-level marketing schemes. And we urgently need that money. We'll pay you back with interest. Interest? It's been 2 years and I haven't seen a single penny. My roof still leaks, and now I have to put buckets out every time it rains. But Valerie's trip to Cancun with her friends last year, that got paid for just fine. Grandma, where's the Wi-Fi? Diego pulled me out of my thoughts. I need the Wi-Fi now. The modem is broken, I lied. I had unplugged it on purpose. What? No way! Mom! Mom! He started yelling as if he were being tortured. Your mom is gone, Diego, I said, and yelling isn't going to bring the internet back. You're the worst grandma in the world, he said. That's why nobody loves you. There it was, Valerie's poison coming out of my grandson's mouth. It didn't hurt. I was prepared. I'm hungry, Sophia interrupted, but I'm not eating anything you cook. Mum says you're a horrible cook, and that's why Dad is so skinny. And I want to watch YouTube, Matthew added. At home, I watch YouTube all day. I looked at the 3 of them. Perfect products of neglect disguised as modern parenting. Kids who didn't know boundaries, who didn't understand respect, who had been programmed to despise me. But then I remembered the exact moment Valerie crossed the final line. It was last Christmas. I had prepared my specialties, turkey with my mother's gravy, mashed potatoes, and pecan pie. I had cooked for 2 days. I arrived at their house with the pots still warm. The kids ran into the kitchen, drawn by the smell. Don't touch that, Valerie yelled. We don't know what conditions your grandma prepared it in. Let's just order a pizza instead. Pizza? On Christmas Eve? I watched as she threw my food in the trash without even tasting it. The kids looked at me with pity, as if I were a beggar who had brought scraps. Grandma's food is too greasy, Valerie explained to them, and her kitchen has roaches. Lies. My kitchen is cleaner than an operating room. But Robert was standing right there, watching it all, and he only said, "Valerie knows what's best for the kids." That night, I decided my son was lost, but my grandkids might still have a chance at salvation. "Grandma, do something!" Diego threw a cushion on the floor. "We're bored." "You know what?" I said calmly. "Your mum asked me to watch you, not to entertain you. There's food in the kitchen, water from the faucet, and beds to sleep in. If you need anything else, you'll have to earn it." "Earn it?" Sophia looked offended. "We're kids. We don't have to earn anything." "In this house, everyone contributes," I said. "That's how I was raised. That's how your dad was raised before your mum ruined him, and that's how things are going to be for the next 2 weeks." "I'm going to tell my mum you're mean," Matthew threatened. "Go ahead," I said. "And while you're at it, tell her I found her Facebook page very interesting, especially the photos from Phoenix last month, when she was supposedly at a training conference." The kids fell silent. They didn't understand what I was talking about, but they sensed that their grandma wasn't the same as before. That first night was a nightmare. Diego kicked his bedroom door. Sophia cried for hours, demanding her special food. Matthew deliberately wet the bed. They wanted to break me, just like their mother had tried to break me for years. But that's when I made the discovery that would change everything. At 2 in the morning, I heard sobbing from Sophia's room. They weren't tantrums. They were real tears. I walked in silently and found her hugging a crumpled photo. "What do you have there, my girl?" I asked. She jumped and hid the photo under her pillow. "Nothing," she said. "Go away." But I had seen enough. It was a photo of me holding her when she was a baby. One of the few times I was able to hold her before Valerie started her campaign to keep us apart. "Do you miss your mum?" I asked, sitting on the edge of the bed. "No," she replied too quickly. Too quickly. "Mum is always gone," she said. "She's used to it. I mean, I'm used to it." There it was, the first crack in the armor. Valerie hadn't just abandoned me. She had abandoned her own children, using money and gifts as a substitute for love. "Sophia, how often does your mum go on these trips?" I asked. "I don't know. Once a month, sometimes more. She always says it's for work, but nothing. I'm not supposed to talk about it," she said. "Family problems aren't shared," she said. "The golden rule of abusers: silence." I got up and walked to the door. Before leaving, I turned around. "Sophia, would you like to learn how to make the cookies you used to love when you were little?" I asked. Her eyes lit up for a second before they went dark. "Mum says your kitchen is dirty," she said. "Your mum says a lot of things," I said. "Why don't you see for yourself tomorrow?" I closed the door, leaving Sophia with her thoughts. The first seed was planted. What I didn't know then was that Diego's phone, the one he couldn't use without Wi-Fi, had messages that would reveal Valerie's darkest secret. Messages that would explain why she had really gone to Miami. And when I discovered them, I understood that I wasn't just saving my grandkids. I was saving my entire family from a woman who was far more dangerous than I ever imagined. The second day dawned differently. My plan was already in motion. At 6 in the morning, before the kids woke up, Carol arrived with a shoebox. "Here's everything you asked for," she whispered, handing me the package. 3 button-sized recorders, a camera that looks like a smoke detector. "And this?" She pulled out a manila envelope. "The credit reports you requested." Hope, your daughter-in-law has over $30,000 in debt, all in Robert's name. My heart sank. My poor son had no idea. And your sister at Child Protective Services? I asked. She's coming tomorrow at 3 as a casual routine visit. But Hope, you need concrete evidence if you want to do something legal. Evidence. That was exactly what I was going to get. When the kids woke up, breakfast was on the table. Pancakes shaped like animals, fruit cut into stars, and chocolate milk. Not the horrible food their mum had told them I made. Diego was the first one down, still in his wrinkled pajamas. He stopped dead in his tracks when he saw the table. "What's this?" he asked. "Breakfast," I said. "Eat before it gets cold." He sat down cautiously, took a bite, and for the first time, I saw something close to a smile. But he immediately straightened up. "It's all right," he said. "I've had better." Sophia and Matthew came down, drawn by the smell. Matthew dove right into the pancakes. "These are delicious, Grandma," he said. "Shut up, dummy," Sophia elbowed him. "We're not supposed to—" She trailed off. "Not supposed to what, Sophia?" I asked. "Nothing," she said. After breakfast, I laid down my rules. If you want Wi-Fi, TV, or any other privileges, you have to earn them. Diego, your job is to clean the dishes. Sophia, make the beds. Matthew, pick up the toys. "That's child labor," Diego shouted. "No, my boy," I said. "Child labor is what I see on your mum's phone." I pulled out my phone and showed him a screenshot from Valerie's Facebook. "Look, here's your mum in Miami, at the beach, with a man who is not your dad." The 3 kids leaned in to see. In the photo, Valerie was in a bikini, hugging a man who was definitely not Robert. The hashtag read, "YouLife, finally free." "That's Uncle Mark," Matthew said innocently. "Mum's friend who sometimes comes over when Dad is at work." Diego quickly covered his mouth, but it was too late. The second piece of the puzzle had just fallen into place. "Uncle Mark?" I asked casually. "How often does Uncle Mark come over?" "We're not supposed to talk about it." Diego looked at me in a panic. "Mum said if we told anyone about Uncle Mark, Dad would get really sad and might die from sadness." Oh my God. The level of manipulation was worse than I thought. "Kids, your dad isn't going to die from sadness. Adults don't work that way. But I need you to tell me the truth about everything. It's important." "Why?" Sophia crossed her arms. "Why do you want to know?" "Because I love you," I said. "And when you love someone, you protect them. And right now, you need protection." It was Matthew who broke first. The smallest, the most innocent, the one who wasn't completely corrupted yet. "Grandma, why does Mum say you're mean if you make such good pancakes?" he asked. "I don't know, my love," I said. "What else does your mum say about me?" "She says you're poor and embarrassing," he said. "That's why we can't visit you. She says your house smells bad and that you're a bitter old lady who ruined Dad's life." Each word was a dagger, but I kept my composure. I discreetly installed the first recorder under the dining room table. "And what do you think?" I asked. "Your house smells like cinnamon and coffee," Sophia said quietly. "It smells like home." That afternoon, while the kids were doing their assigned chores, grumbling but doing them, I checked Diego's phone. I had forgotten that kids nowadays save everything to the cloud. With a little patience, I accessed his Google account. What I found chilled me to the bone. WhatsApp conversations between Valerie and this Mark. They weren't just lovers. They were planning something much worse. "I have everything ready," Valerie had written. "Robert signed the papers without reading them, as usual. The house is already in my name." "And the brats?" Mark had replied. I'll leave them with the old lady as soon as I get the divorce. After all, Robert works so much he doesn't even see them. He won't be able to ask for custody, but we need more money to move to Miami for good. The old lady has a house. It's worth at least $200,000. When she dies, Robert inherits, and as his wife, half of it is mine. Or it was mine. We'll see how we can get everything. I kept reading. Valerie had taken out 3 credit cards in Robert's name. She had sold the car that was in his name and told him it was stolen. She had even tried to take out a loan using my house as collateral, but she needed my signature. That's what the monthly trips were for. They weren't for work. They were to meet with Mark in different cities. They had gone to Cancun, Phoenix, Palm Springs, all paid for with the money Robert killed himself working for. I took photos of everything, every message, every photo, every piece of evidence. My friend Carol was right. I needed to document everything. That night, during dinner, I decided to test the kids. "What would you like to do tomorrow?" I asked. "Go home," Diego replied automatically. "To which home?" I asked. "Your dad's or Uncle Mark's?" Sophia's fork clattered onto her plate. "No, I don't know what you're talking about." "Sophia, my love, I know it's difficult," I said, "but I need you to tell me the truth. Does Uncle Mark live with you?" "No, well, sometimes, when Dad travels for work, he stays to watch us," she said. "In the guest room?" I asked. Matthew let out a nervous giggle. "No, Grandma," he said. "He sleeps in Mum and Dad's room, and he won't let us in, and they make weird noises." Diego got up from the table furiously. "Shut up, Matthew! Mum said not to say anything." "And what else did your mum tell you not to say?" I asked. That's when Sophia broke down. Tears began to fall like a waterfall. "That Dad is boring," she said. "That Uncle Mark is more fun. That we're going to have a new house with a pool soon. That we're not going to be poor like Dad anymore. That we're not going to end up like you, Grandma, living in a nasty, old house." I hugged her. For the first time in years, my granddaughter allowed me to hug her. And she cried. She cried like the 10-year-old girl she was, not like the little robot Valerie had tried to create. "Grandma," Diego whispered, and for the first time, there was no hostility in his voice. "Does Dad know?" "No, my love," I said. "Your dad doesn't know anything." "Are you going to tell him?" he asked. "I'm going to do something better," I said. "I'm going to make sure you guys are safe. That your dad is safe. And that your mum, well, that your mum gets exactly what she deserves." That night, after putting the kids to bed, and for the first time, none of them protested, I called Robert. "Hi, Mum," he said. "How are the kids? Valerie told me you offered to watch them." I offered. The liar had twisted everything. "They're fine, son," I said. "Listen, could you come over tomorrow after work? There's something about the house I need to discuss with you." "Is it urgent?" he asked. "Valerie told me not to bother her on her work trip." "It's about a leak in the ceiling," I said. "It could affect the structure." It wasn't a total lie. There was a leak, but it wasn't in the ceiling. "All right, Mum," he said. "I'll be there around 7. I hung up and looked at the calendar. There were 12 days left until Valerie returned. 12 days to dismantle 10 years of lies, manipulation, and psychological abuse. But now I had something I didn't have before. 3 kids who were starting to see the truth. And the truth, as they say, always comes to light. Tomorrow, the psychologist would come. Robert would see the evidence, and the house of cards Valerie had built would begin to collapse. The war was just beginning, but for the first time in years, I had all the weapons to win it. The third day began with an explosion. Literally. Matthew had found the fireworks I had saved for New Year's and decided to light one inside the house. At 5 in the morning. "Grandma! The house is on fire!" Sophia screamed. I ran with the fire extinguisher that I thankfully always keep in the kitchen. The firework had singed the dining room curtain and filled everything with smoke. Matthew was standing in the middle of the chaos, laughing. "It's funny, he said, "like on YouTube." "Funny?" I asked. "You could have burned the house down, Matthew." "So what?" he said. "It's an ugly house anyway. Mum said when you die she's going to sell it and buy us a better one." There it was, Valerie's pure poison coming out of my 7-year-old grandson's mouth. But this time it didn't hurt. It gave me fuel. "You know what, Matthew?" I said. "You're right. It's an old house. And you know why? Because in this house, I raised your dad all by myself after your grandpa died. In this house, I sewed uniforms until 3 in the morning to pay for his education. In this ugly kitchen, I prepared 1,000 lunchboxes with love so your dad never went to school on an empty stomach." The boy stopped laughing. "And if your mum thinks she's going to get this house, she's very wrong. Because yesterday I changed my will. I'm leaving everything to a foundation for orphaned children, kids who would appreciate having a roof over their heads." "You can't do that," Diego shouted, who had run downstairs. "That house is our inheritance." "Inheritance? You who never visit me, who despise me, who treat me like a servant, you want an inheritance?" "Mom says it's our right," he said. I took out my cell phone and played the recording I had made the day before of their conversation at dinner. Their own voices filled the living room. "Dad is boring," said a voice. "Uncle Mark is more fun. We're not going to be poor like Dad anymore." The three of them froze. "You recorded our conversation." Sophia was pale. "I record everything, my girl," I said. "Every word, every confession. Because when your mum comes back and tries to turn everything against me, I'm going to have proof." That's when Diego exploded. And it wasn't pretty. "You're a meddling old lady," he screamed. "That's why Dad never visits you. That's why Mum hates you. You're a bitter old woman who can't stand to see anyone happy." He started throwing things. The vase my mother gave me, the picture frames on the shelf, my retirement diploma, everything, all while screaming obscenities that no 12-year-old should know. "I hate you, I hate you, I hope you die." Sophia joined the chaos. She went to the kitchen and started throwing plates on the floor. "If you don't give us Wi-Fi right now, we're going to destroy your whole house." Matthew, not wanting to be left behind, grabbed my photo albums and started tearing the pages. Photos of my wedding, of Robert as a baby, of my parents who are no longer with me, pieces of my history flying through the air like macabre confetti. I stood in the middle of the hurricane, calmly, observing. The hidden camera Carol had installed was recording everything. After 20 minutes of destruction, the three of them were exhausted, panting among the rubble of my living room. "Are you finished?" I asked calmly. They looked at each other, confused by my lack of reaction. "Now you're going to clean up everything. Every broken piece, every destroyed photo. And while you're doing it, you're going to think about this. Your mum left you here because she doesn't love you. If she loved you, she wouldn't have gone to Miami with Uncle Mark. If she loved you, she wouldn't use you as weapons against your dad. If she loved you, she wouldn't teach you to hate the only person who actually cares about you." "You don't care about us," Diego yelled. "Oh, I don't?" I asked. "Who do you think convinced your dad not to sell the house when he lost his job 3 years ago? Who lent him money to pay your tuition when Valerie spent the money on her trips? Who has been saving money for your college since the day you were born?" I took 3 savings books out of a drawer, one in each of their names. Diego, $4,500. Sophia, $3,800. Matthew, $2,500. Every month, from my $850 pension, I save $100 for each of you. Since I can't see you, at least I can secure your future. But you know what? Tomorrow I'm going to the bank to close these accounts. I'm going to give that money to kids who would actually value someone else's effort. Diego grabbed his savings book with trembling hands. $4,500? For me? It was for you, I said. Not anymore. It was Sophia who broke down first. Grandma, we didn't know, she said. Didn't you know? Or didn't you want to know? I asked. It's easier to believe your mum's lies than to think for yourselves, isn't it? At that moment, the doorbell rang. It was Lisa, Carol's sister, from Child Protective Services. Good morning, Mrs. Smith, she said. I'm here because of the call we received about possible child neglect. The kids turned white. Please, come in, Ma'am, I said. As you can see, the kids just had a little episode. Lisa looked at the destruction, took out her camera, and started taking photos. The kids did this? She asked. Mom says it's their way of expressing themselves, Matthew mumbled. Their mum encourages them to destroy other people's property, Lisa asked. Mom says Grandma is old and her opinion doesn't matter, Sophia replied. Lisa took notes. And where is your mum now? She asked. In Miami, Diego said automatically. On a work trip. Work? I asked. I pulled out my cell phone and showed her Valerie's Facebook. A new photo, her and Mark toasting on a yacht. Lots of work, as you can see, I said. Lisa looked at the photos, the conversations I had printed out, the bank statements with the debts. Her expression grew more and more serious. Kids, I need to talk to each of you separately. While Lisa was interviewing the kids, I picked up the pieces of my broken photos. Each fragment was a memory, but they didn't hurt anymore. Because now I understood that I wasn't losing the past. I was reclaiming the future. An hour later, Lisa came out of the room where she had been with Diego. Mrs. Smith, these children are suffering from severe emotional abandonment. The psychological manipulation is evident. The oldest is on the verge of depression. The girl has chronic anxiety. And the little one, well, the little one is acting out what he sees. What can I do? I asked. For now, document everything. When the father comes, I need to talk to him. And when the mother returns, well, I'm going to have to open a formal investigation. After Lisa left, I found the 3 kids sitting on the stairs. They no longer looked like the little tyrants who had arrived. They looked like what they really were, scared, abandoned children. Are they going to take us away from our parents? Matthew asked in a trembling voice. I sat with them on the stairs. No, my love, I said. Nobody is going to separate you from your dad. But things are going to change, and it's going to hurt. Change always hurts, but sometimes it's necessary. Grandma, Diego said, not looking me in the eyes. About Uncle Mark. Dad is going to die of sadness if he finds out. No, my boy, I said. Your dad is stronger than you think, and he deserves to know the truth. We all deserve the truth. That afternoon, while they were cleaning up the mess they had made, this time without protesting, I heard Sophia whisper to Diego, What if Grandma is right? What if Mum really doesn't love us? Shut up, Diego replied, but his voice no longer had conviction. Mum has to love us. She's our mum. But even he was doubting now. The armor of lies was starting to crack. That night, after dinner in silence, Matthew came up to me with something in his hands. It was a torn photo he had tried to tape back together, the photo of his dad on his graduation day. "I'm sorry, Grandma," he said. "I tried to fix it." I hugged him. For the first time since he arrived, my youngest grandson hugged me back. "We can fix a lot of things, Matthew," I said. "But first we have to accept that they're broken, and in a few hours, when Robert arrived, the real reconstruction would begin. Stone by stone, truth by truth, until nothing was left of Valerie's castle of lies." Robert arrived at 7:15. He came straight from work, his engineering uniform stained with grease and his eyes sunken with exhaustion. When I saw him at the door, for a moment I saw the 8-year-old boy who used to cry because the other kids made fun of his patched-up shoes. "Hi, Mom," he said. "Where are the kids?" "Doing homework in the dining room," I said. "Robert, sit down. We need to talk." "Is it about the leak?" he asked. "Can I check it quickly?" "It's not a leak in the ceiling, son," I said. "It's a leak in your marriage." He froze. "What are you talking about?" he asked. I placed a folder on the table. Inside were the screenshots of Valerie's conversations with Mark, the bank statements from the credit cards she had taken out in his name, the Facebook photos of her work trip to Miami. Robert took the papers with trembling hands. With each page he turned, his face lost more color. This has to be a mistake," he whispered. "Valerie's at a sales conference." "Robert, my love, Valerie is in Miami with her lover," I said. "The kids know. They've known for months." "The kids?" His voice cracked. "The Uncle Mark who comes to watch them when you travel. The one who sleeps in your bed. The one your children have had to endure in silence because their mother threatened them that you would die of sadness if you found out." I saw the exact moment my son broke. He didn't cry. He didn't scream. He just sank into the chair as if someone had cut the strings holding him up. "I'm an idiot," he whispered. "A complete idiot." "No, son," I said. "You're a man who trusted the wrong person, but now you have to be strong. For your children." "Dad?" Diego was at the door. He had heard everything. Robert looked up, and for the first time in years, he truly looked at his son. Not at the spoiled kid Valerie had created, but at the scared teenager who desperately needed his father. "Diego, son, We already knew, Dad," he said. "We've known for a long time." Sophia and Matthew appeared behind their brother. The three of them stood in the doorway, as if they were afraid to come closer. "Come here," Robert said, opening his arms. And for the first time in I don't know how long, I saw my grandkids run to hug their father. The four of them cried together while I prepared coffee. Sometimes, tears are the first step to healing. That night, after Robert took the kids to bed early, I stayed up alone, planning the next phase. Valerie had underestimated the retired teacher, but now the teacher was going to give her a lesson she would never forget. The next few days were intense. Robert took time off work, his first in 3 years, and practically moved into my house with the kids. Together we implemented what I called Project Respect. First, schedules. Wake up at 7, breakfast at 8, educational activities, lunch, free time earned with good behavior, dinner, and bed at 9. "But at home we go to bed whenever we want," Sophia protested on the first day. "That's why you are the way you are," I replied. "The brain needs routine to feel safe." Second, responsibilities. Each child had age-appropriate chores. Diego helped in the garden, Sophia in the kitchen, and Matthew organized the toys. "This is exploitation," Diego muttered while trimming the plants. "No," Robert corrected him. This is family. In a family, everyone contributes. Third, real consequences. If they didn't comply, there was no Wi-Fi. If they yelled, they got a timeout. If they broke something, they either repaired it or paid for it with their allowance. But most importantly, family sessions with the psychologist Carol had recommended. Dr. Patricia came to the house 3 times a week. These kids have been used as pawns in a sick game, she told me after the 3rd session. The mother has conditioned them to reject any authority but her own, but paradoxically, she herself is absent. It's a classic case of parental alienation combined with emotional neglect. Can it be reversed? I asked. With time, patience, and a lot of love, she said. But yes, it can be. And little by little, it started to work. On the 5th day, Sophia asked me to teach her how to make walnut cookies. While we were kneading the dough, she started to talk. "Grandma, why does Mum hate you so much?" she asked. "She doesn't hate me, my girl," I said. "She fears me." "She fears you? Why?" "Because I represent everything she's not," I said. "I worked my whole life. I built something with my hands. I raised a son with values. She wants everything easy, fast, without effort. And when someone like me exists, it reminds her that she chose the wrong path." "Is Mom a bad person?" she asked. I carefully considered my answer. "Your mum is lost," I said. "She made bad decisions, and now she's so buried in her lies that she doesn't know how to get out. But that doesn't justify the harm she has done to you." On the 7th day, Diego came over while I was sewing Matthew's uniform. "Grandma, can I ask you something?" he asked. "Of course, my boy," I said. "All these years when Mum talked bad about you, why didn't you ever say anything?" "Because I thought that keeping the peace was more important than being right," I said. "It was a mistake. Sometimes silence isn't peace, it's complicity with abuse." "Do you regret it?" he asked. "I regret not acting sooner," I said. "But I don't regret acting now." On the 8th day, something extraordinary happened. Matthew, my youngest grandson, the most damaged by the neglect, brought me a drawing. It was our family, Robert, the 3 kids, and me in the centre. Valerie wasn't in it. "And your mum?" I asked softly. "Mum's on a trip," he said. "She's always on a trip, but you're always here." That night, Robert and I had a conversation we should have had years ago. "Mum, I'm so sorry," he said. "I failed you as a son." "No, Robert," I said. "I failed you as a mother. I should have taught you to recognize the signs. I should have protected you better." "How did I not see what was happening?" he asked. "Because love doesn't blind you, son," I said. "And because manipulators are experts at making us doubt our own perception. What am I going to do when she gets back?" "That's what we're preparing for," I said. "I have a plan." And what a plan I had. With Carol's help, I had contacted a lawyer specializing in divorces with parental alienation. With Lisa from Child Protective Services, we had a complete file. With Dr. Patricia, we had psychological evaluations of the children. On the 9th day, the kids did something that left me speechless. They organized a dinner for their dad and me. They cooked, with supervision. They set the table, and they even made a centerpiece with flowers from the garden. "It's to say thank you," Diego explained, with no trace of the hostile kid who had arrived. "Thank you for not giving up on us." During dinner, Robert took out his cell phone. "Valerie texted me," he said. "She says she'll be here in 5 days and hopes the kids are ready." "Ready for what?" Sophia asked. Robert looked at me. It was time to tell them. "Kids, when your mum comes back, things are going to change a lot," he said. "Dad is going to ask for a divorce." I was expecting tears, protests, drama. Instead, Matthew asked, "Are we still going to be able to live with Grandma?" "You're going to live with me," Robert said, "and you'll see your grandma every day if you want to." "And Mum?" Diego tried to sound indifferent, but I saw the pain in his eyes. "Your mum will have to make some decisions," Robert said, "but no matter what happens, you're going to be okay. I promise." That night, as I tucked Matthew in, he said, "Grandma, you know what? I don't miss the iPad anymore." It was a small miracle, but big changes always start with small miracles. There were 5 days left until Valerie's return. 5 days to finish preparing everything, because when she crossed that door, she wouldn't find the broken kids she had left, or the submissive mother-in-law she expected to manipulate. She would find a united family, strong and ready for battle. And I, the old retired teacher who, according to her, didn't do anything, was about to give her the most important lesson of her life. Never, ever underestimate the power of true love over manipulation. The 10th day began with a revelation that changed everything. Sophia came to my room at 6 in the morning, her eyes red from not sleeping. "Grandma, I need to tell you something," she said. "Something I haven't even told Dad." I sat on the bed and hugged her. "What is it, my girl?" I asked. "Mum." "Mum has another phone," she said. "One Dad doesn't know about. She hides it in her makeup bag. One day I saw it by accident and—" She started to cry, shaking. "And what did you see?" I asked. "Photos," she said. "A lot of photos. Of her with Uncle Mark. But there were also documents, papers from a bank in Miami, and something about a house she bought there." My heart stopped. "A house in Miami?" "Yes," she said. "And there was more. An email from a lawyer about custody. Mum wants to take us to live in Miami with Uncle Mark. It said something about how Mexico doesn't have an extradition treaty for civil cases or something like that." My God. Valerie wasn't just planning to abandon Robert. She was planning to steal the children and disappear. "Is there anything else I need to know?" I asked. Sophia hesitated, then took something out of her pajamas. It was a USB flash drive. "I copied everything," she said. "I don't know why I did it. Maybe because deep down I knew that someday someone would need to see it." I hugged her tightly. My 10-year-old granddaughter had had to carry this secret alone, being braver than most adults. I plugged the USB into my old computer. What we found was devastating. Not only was there evidence of the house in Miami, bought in Mark's name with money Valerie had been taking from their joint accounts for 2 years, but there was also a detailed plan. Phase 1. Convince R that I need a training trip to Miami. Phase 2. During my absence, Mark will empty the house of everything valuable. Phase 3. When I get back, I'll provoke a fight with the old lady. I'll make it look like she mistreated the kids. Phase 4. I'll use that to justify leaving with the kids for their safety. Phase 5. Once we're in Miami, there's no turning back. But the worst was in an audio file. It was Valerie on the phone with someone. "I don't care if the brats cry for their dad," her voice said. "They'll forget in 2 months. Besides, Robert is so pathetic he won't even fight. And if he does, I have edited videos where it looks like he's hitting Diego. Technology works miracles, my friend." Sophia was crying. "Mum was going to say that Dad hit us," she asked. "Your mum was willing to do anything to get her way," I said. "But Dad has never touched us," she said. "Never." "I know, my love," I said. "That's why I've been recording everything since you arrived, to protect you and your dad." At that moment, Diego came in. "What are you guys talking about?" he asked. Sophia told him everything. I saw fury growing in my oldest grandson's eyes. "I'm going to kill her," he said. "I'm going to—" "No, Diego," I interrupted. "You're not going to do anything violent. That's exactly what she wants. What reaction is she looking for to use against you? We're going to be smarter than her." "How?" he asked. "With the truth," I said, "and with the law on our side." I immediately called the lawyer I had contacted. When I explained the situation, he told me to come in immediately with Robert. While we waited for Robert, who had gone to run some errands, Matthew joined us in the living room. "Why is everyone sad?" he asked. "We're not sad, my love," I said. "We're getting ready." "For what?" he asked. "To protect our family." Matthew thought for a moment. Then he said something that broke my heart. "Grandma, I know Mum doesn't love me. I heard her tell Uncle Mark that I was a mistake, that if it weren't for me, she would already be free." 7 years old. My 7-year-old grandson had heard his own mother call him a mistake. "Matthew, look at me," I said. "You're not a mistake. You're a gift. And if your mum can't see that, it's her loss, not yours." "Then why did she have me?" he asked. Diego answered before I could. "To trap Dad. Mum got pregnant with you just when Dad had asked for a divorce for the first time." "Dad already wanted to get a divorce?" Sophia was surprised. 3 years ago, Diego said. "I heard them fighting. Dad had found out that Mom had spent Grandpa Michael's life insurance money on a trip with her friends, but then Mom told him she was pregnant with Matthew, and Dad stayed." I started putting the pieces together. Michael's life insurance. I never knew how much it was, but Robert had told me he would save it for the kids' education. Now I understood where it had gone. Robert arrived with a drained look on his face. "Mum, I went to the bank," he said. "Valerie emptied our savings account yesterday. $38,000. Everything we had saved in 10 years. "Sit down, son," I said. "There's more you need to know." I showed him everything. The documents, the audios, the plan. With each piece of evidence, Robert seemed to age years. "How could I have been so blind?" he asked. "It's not your fault, Dad," Diego said, sitting down next to him. "Mom is really good at lying. She fooled all of us." "But I'm your father," Robert said. "I should have protected you." "You're protecting us now," Sophia said. "That's what matters." The lawyer arrived at noon. Mr. Martinez, a man in his 60s with a bulldog face but kind eyes. "With all this evidence, we can not only prevent her from taking the children, but also request a restraining order," he said. "The attempt to flee with minors is a serious crime. In addition, the financial fraud, we're talking about jail time." "I don't want her to go to jail," Robert said. "I just want my kids to be safe." "Dad, she was going to accuse you of hitting us," Diego reminded him. "She was going to destroy you." "Even so, I don't want their kids to see their mother in prison," he said. Martinez nodded. "I understand," he said. "We can negotiate. She gives up custody, returns the money, and there are no criminal charges. But we need to act fast." "She'll be here in 4 days," I said. "Perfect," he said. "Enough time to get everything ready." After the lawyer left, we all sat in the living room, my small living room that had seen so much history. "Kids," Robert began, "I want you to know that no matter what happens with your mum, I'm always going to be here, and your grandma will be too." "Is Mum going to jail?" Matthew asked. "We don't know," Robert said, "but she's going to have to face the consequences of her actions." "Are we going to see her again?" Sophia tried to sound indifferent, but she was her mother after all. "That will depend on her," Robert said, "and on what the judge decides is best for you." That night, While we were eating the taco soup I had made with Sophia's help, Diego said something that filled me with pride. "Grandma, thanks for not giving up," he said, "for fighting for us when we weren't even fighting for ourselves." "I'll always fight for you," I said. "Always." "You know," Sophia added, "these have been the best days of my life. For the first time, I feel like a family." "Me too," Matthew said, with his mouth full of taco soup. "And Grandma's food isn't horrible. It's the best in the world." We laughed. For the first time in years, we laughed as a family. But while the kids were watching a movie in the living room, Robert and I were having a more serious conversation in the kitchen. "Mum, I'm scared," he said. "What if Valerie gets violent? What if she tries to take the kids by force?" "That's what the plan is for," I said. "The day she arrives, the kids will be at Carol's house. The police will be notified. The lawyer will be present. She won't be alone with them for a single minute." "And what if the kids miss her later?" he asked. "What if they hate me for separating them from their mother?" "The kids will miss the mother they never had, not the one they have," I said. "And with therapy and love, they'll heal. We'll all heal." I looked at my grandkids in the living room, curled up on the couch watching the movie. In 10 days, they had changed so much. They were no longer the little tyrants who had arrived. They were kids, just kids who needed love and boundaries. There were 3 days left until Valerie's return. 3 days to finish legally protecting these children. Because what Valerie didn't know was that while she was enjoying herself in Miami, an army had been raised here. An army of love, truth, and justice. And we were ready for war. The last 3 days before Valerie's return were the most intense and beautiful of my life. It was as if the universe had given us this time to build the foundations that should have existed from the beginning. Day 11 dawned rainy. While I was making breakfast, I found Diego in the living room looking at a photo album I had rescued from the destruction on the first day. "That's Dad," he said, pointing to a photo where Robert was his age. "Yes," I said. "He had just won the state math competition. Look at his proud face." "He looks like me," Diego said. "No, my boy," I said. "You look like him. And not just physically. You have his intelligence, his kindness. You had just buried it under pain." Diego turned the page. There I was, 35 years old, with my first group of students. "You looked happy, Grandma," he said. "I was happy," I said. "Teaching was my passion, just like cooking, just like loving you guys." "Why did you let Mum push you away from us?" he asked. I sat next to him. "Because of cowardice," I said. "I thought that if I didn't make waves, someday she would change. But abusers don't change with submission. They get stronger." "Grandma, do you think I'm like Mum?" he asked. "Sometimes I feel so much anger inside." "Anger doesn't make you bad, Diego," I said. "What you do with it is what defines who you are. Your mum uses her anger to hurt. You can use it to protect, to build, to change what's wrong." That morning, we did something special. I taught them how to cook my mother's gravy. 32 ingredients, 4 hours of preparation. A ritual I had been waiting to share with them for years. "Why is it so complicated?" Sophia asked while we were grinding the spices. "The best things in life require time, patience, and love," I said. "There are no shortcuts for what's truly worthwhile." Matthew was in charge of toasting the spices. His little face of concentration was pure poetry. "It smells like Christmas," he said. "It smells like tradition," I corrected. "Like history. My great-grandmother, your great-great-grandmother used to make this gravy. It survived the Civil War, 2 world wars, and now it lives in us." "We're history?" Matthew seemed amazed by the idea. We're living history, my love, I said. Each of us carries the stories of those who came before us. While we were cooking, Robert worked at the dining room table with the lawyer, signing documents, preparing the legal strategy. Once in a while, he would look at us with a sad smile. Dad looks different, Sophia observed. Your dad is waking up from a very long dream, I explained. It hurts to wake up, but it's necessary. That afternoon, Dr. Patricia came for a special family session. I want each of you to write a letter to Valerie, she said. Not to send it to her, but to get out what you're holding inside. Diego wrote 3 pages of fury. Sophia, a page of questions. Matthew drew his mom as a monster with suitcases instead of hands. Robert wrote only 1 line. I forgive you, but I won't allow you to do any more harm. I wrote, I failed as a mother-in-law by not stopping you sooner. I will not fail as a grandmother. Now, the doctor said, I want you to burn them. Let go of the pain. In the backyard, under the light rain, we burned the letters in a clay pot. As the paper turned to ashes, Matthew asked, Are we free now? We're starting to be free now, the doctor replied. Day 12 was about practical preparation. Carol came with her sister, Lisa, from Child Protective Services. The day Valerie arrives, the kids will be at my house, Carol explained. It's better if they don't witness the initial confrontation. But I want to see Mum's face when she realizes we know everything, Diego protested. No, my love, I said. Revenge isn't our goal. Protection is. Lisa reviewed all the documents. With this, we can request emergency custody for Robert, she said. Valerie won't be able to approach the children without judicial supervision. And if she comes with this Mark guy? Robert asked. We'll have a police car nearby, Lisa said. Any sign of violence and they'll intervene. That night, while the kids were sleeping, I found Robert in the backyard, looking at the stars. What are you thinking about, son? I asked. About Dad, he said. Do you think he'd be disappointed in me? Your father would be proud that you're finally doing the right thing, I said. It took a long time, but you got here. That's what counts. Mum, how did you raise a son all by yourself? He asked. How did you find the strength? I didn't find it, I said. I built it, day by day, decision by decision, just like you're building it now. Day 13, the last day before Valerie's return, we decided to do something special, a real family day. We went to the park where I used to take Robert when he was a kid. The kids ran, played, and got dirty. For the first time in years, I saw them being just kids. Grandma, look! Matthew had climbed the tallest tree. I can see the whole city, he said. Be careful, I yelled, but Robert stopped me. Let him, Mum, he said. He needs to feel brave. Sophia and I sat on a bench and ate hot dogs. Grandma, when Mum comes back, all of this is going to end, Sophia said. No, my girl, I said. This is just beginning. What's going to end is the fear, the manipulation, the lies. What if Mum cries? She asked. Whenever she cries, Dad forgives everything. Not this time, I said. This time, your dad has something stronger than your mum's manipulation. What? She asked. The truth, I said. And you to protect. Diego came over with bags of popcorn for everyone. I spent my allowance, but it was worth it, he said. That's my grandson, I said, learning that giving is worth more than receiving. By evening, we were back home. The kids were exhausted but happy. While I was making dinner, I heard them talking in the living room. Do you remember when Mum used to bring us here? Matthew asked. Mum never brought us here, Diego replied. Mum never took us anywhere but the mall. But Grandma did, Sophia said. In just 13 days, Grandma has given us more than Mum has in years. My heart swelled with love and sadness at the same time. During dinner, Robert made an announcement. Tomorrow is going to be a difficult day, he said, but I want you to know that no matter what happens, we're a family. And true families protect each other. Is Mum not family? Matthew asked, confused. Mum is your biological mum, Robert said. But family is who's here when things get difficult. Family is who loves you unconditionally. Then Grandma is more family than Mum, Matthew concluded with the simple logic of a child. That night, as I tucked them in, each one told me something I will cherish in my heart forever. Diego said, Grandma, thanks for not giving up on me, even though I was horrible to you. Sophia said, Grandma, I want to be like you when I grow up, strong and brave. Matthew said, Grandma, can I call you Mum Hope? I already have a mum, but I need a real mum. I couldn't hold back the tears. You can call me whatever you want, my loves, I said. I'll always be your grandma who loves you. Robert and I stayed up late in the kitchen, going over the plan for the next day. At 10 in the morning, I'll take the kids to Carol's house. At 11, the lawyer comes. At 11:30, the police will be on the corner. Valerie said she'll be here at noon, and we'll be ready. Before going to sleep, I looked at the photos from these 13 days that I had taken with my old phone. The transformation was impressive. From 3 broken, hostile kids to 3 kids healing, laughing, being a family. Tomorrow Valerie would return, expecting to find her submissive mother-in-law and her emotionally abandoned children. Instead, she would find the consequences of her actions. She would find that true love is always stronger than manipulation. She would find that the family she had despised had become an unbreakable wall, protecting the children she had used as weapons. And I, the old retired teacher, was ready to give the final, most important lesson. It was 11:58 in the morning. Robert and I were sitting in the living room with the lawyer, Mr. Martinez, by our side. The documents were on the coffee table like soldiers ready for battle. My cell phone showed a message from Carol. The kids are fine, playing in the backyard. They don't suspect a thing. At 3 minutes after 12, we heard the engine of Valerie's SUV. My heart was beating so fast I was sure Robert could hear it. Relax, Mom, he said, taking my hand. She doesn't have any power over us anymore. The door opened without a knock. Classic Valerie, walking in as if it were her own house. She was tan, wearing a new dress that probably cost more than my monthly pension, and dragging a Louis Vuitton suitcase. Ugh, it's so hot, she exclaimed without even looking at us. Robert, what are you doing here? You should be at work. Where are the kids? I hope you haven't spoiled them, Hope. It's enough work for me. She trailed off when she saw the lawyer. Who is this? She asked. Valerie, Robert stood up. His voice was firm, nothing like the exhausted man who had arrived 13 days ago. We need to talk. Talk about what? She asked. I'm tired from my trip. The kids and I are going home. The kids aren't here, I said calmly, and they're not going anywhere with you. Her face changed. The mask of sweetness cracked a little. Excuse me? Robert, what is this all about? The lawyer, Mr. Martinez, cleared his throat. Mrs. Valerie, I'm Mr. Martinez, he said. I represent Mr. Robert in the divorce and emergency custody proceedings that he has initiated. Divorce? She let out a nervous laugh. Robert, honey, what did your mother do to you now? You know she's old and makes things up. No, Valerie, Robert said. He took out his cell phone and pressed play on an audio file. It was her own voice. The brats are in the way, she said. As soon as I can, I'll get rid of them. Robert is such an idiot he won't even notice. Valerie's face lost all colour. That, that's edited, she said. It's illegal to record someone without their consent. It's also illegal, the lawyer interjected, to take out credit cards in your husband's name without his knowledge. $30,000 in debt, ma'am. I don't know what you're talking about, she said. Robert placed the bank statements on the table. 3 credit cards, Valerie, he said. All documented. We also have, I continued, evidence of the house in Miami, the one you bought with Mark using the money you stole from the savings account. I didn't steal anything, she screamed. It's joint money, which you emptied without your husband's consent to buy a property in your lover's name, the lawyer specified. That's marital fraud. Valerie looked at me with pure hatred. You, she said. This is all your fault, you meddling old lady. You always wanted to separate me from Robert. No, Valerie, I said. You separated yourself. I just documented your crimes. Crimes? Please, she said. What are you going to do? Sue me for being unhappy in my marriage? No, Martinez said, pulling out another document. For attempted international parental kidnapping. We have your complete plan to take the children to Miami without their father's consent. Valerie staggered. She had to grab the back of the chair. The kids are mine, she cried. I gave birth to them. Children are not property, I said. And after 13 days with me, they made a decision. What did you do to them? Did you brainwash them? This is parental alienation. Robert laughed bitterly. Parental alienation? Really, the woman who told our kids their grandma was a dirty, poor old lady is talking about alienation? I want to see my children. Now, she demanded. No, Robert's voice was pure steel. First, we're going to establish the rules. Martinez opened his briefcase. Ma'am, you have 2 options, he said. First, you accept the divorce, give up custody, return the stolen money, and leave without making a fuss. In exchange, we won't press criminal charges. And the second option, we fight in court. With the evidence we have, you will not only lose the children, but you'll also face charges for fraud, attempted kidnapping, and psychological abuse. 3 to 5 years in jail. Valerie fell into the chair. For the first time since I'd met her, I saw her without her mask. And what I saw was pathetic. An empty woman who had built her life on lies. You can't do this to me, she said. I have rights. The children have rights too, I said. The right not to be manipulated, used, and emotionally abandoned. I never abandoned them, she screamed. Oh no? How many trips have you taken this year, Valerie? 18. We have it documented. 18 times you left your kids to be with Mark. That's a lie, she yelled. I took out my cell phone and showed her the Facebook photos. Her and Mark on every trip, while her kids were left with the neighbor, with anyone but their father or their grandmother. The kids know everything, Valerie, I said. They know about Uncle Mark. They know he sleeps in their dad's bed when he's not there. They know you call them brats. They know you are planning to take them to— I want to talk to them, she interrupted. Not until you sign the papers, Robert said. Valerie took out her cell phone. I'm going to call Mark, she said. He's a lawyer. He'll defend me. Go ahead, Martinez said. But I should inform you that Mark has already been notified that he's involved in a fraud case. I doubt he'll want to get himself in any deeper. She dialed. Once, twice, 3 times. Mark didn't answer. He abandoned me, she whispered. The jerk abandoned me. Just like you abandoned your family, I said. She got up abruptly. This isn't over, she yelled. I'm going to get my kids back. Are you, Mum? We all turned around. At the door stood Sophia. She had run away from Carol's house. My love, Valerie said, running towards her, but Sophia backed away. Don't touch me, she said. Sophia, my girl, what did they do to you? Valerie asked. What did this old lady tell you? Grandma didn't tell me anything, Sophia said. You said everything. In your messages with Uncle Mark, in your lies, in every time you left us. I was working to give you a better life, Valerie cried. No, Sophia said. You were traveling with your lover while we thought we were orphans with living parents. Diego and Matthew appeared behind their sister. Carol came running behind them. I'm sorry, Hope, she said. They ran away when I wasn't looking. It's okay, I said. Maybe they needed to do this. Valerie tried to approach Diego. Son, my love, your sister is just confused. No, Mum, he said. You're the one who's confused if you think we're going back with you. I'm your mother, she said. A mother doesn't call her son a mistake, Matthew said in his small voice. I heard you. You told Uncle Mark I was a mistake. Valerie went pale. No, I didn't, she said. You're making that up. A mother doesn't steal her children's college money, Diego added. A mother doesn't use us as an excuse for her lies, Sophia continued. A mother protects us, the three of them said in unison. Like Grandma. The silence that followed was deafening. I could hear the ticking of the wall clock, the humming of the refrigerator, even Valerie's ragged breathing. You're going to pay for this, Hope, she hissed. You don't know who you're messing with. I know exactly who I'm messing with, I said. A narcissist who mistook kindness for weakness. But it's over, Valerie. Sign the papers and leave. And what if I don't want to? She asked. Robert stood up. Then we'll see you in court, he said. And believe me, with what we have, you won't just lose the kids. You'll lose everything. Valerie looked at her children one last time. For a moment, it seemed like she was going to cry. But narcissists don't cry for others, only for themselves. She grabbed the papers, signed them furiously, and threw them onto the table. I hope you're happy, she said. You just took a mother away from these kids. No, Matthew replied with a maturity inappropriate for his 7 years. We just gained a family. Valerie stormed out the door. The engine of her SUV roared and drove away, taking 10 years of toxicity with it. The kids ran to hug their dad. The four of them cried together while I prepared chamomile tea for everyone. Is she gone for good? Sophia asked. I don't know, Robert replied honestly. But if she comes back, it will be on our terms. And what if she doesn't come back? Matthew's voice trembled. I sat down on the floor with them, something I hadn't done in years. If she doesn't come back, we'll keep moving forward, I said. Because love isn't something you beg for, my children. Love is given freely, or it's not love at all. Diego looked at me. Grandma, are you okay? He asked. I'm more than okay, my boy, I said. For the first time in 10 years, this family is free. That night, while we were eating the beef stew we had prepared days before, Robert raised his glass of iced tea. To Grandma, he said. To the woman who saved all of us. To Grandma, the kids shouted. But I raised my glass for something else. To the truth, I said. Because in the end, the truth always wins. And as I looked at my family, my true family, gathered around my humble table, I knew that all the pain had been worth it. The teacher had given her last and most important lesson. It's never too late to defend what you love. 3 weeks had passed since Valerie stormed out the door. 3 weeks of peace that were broken one Thursday afternoon when she showed up unannounced. But this time, she wasn't alone. I was in the garden with the kids, teaching them how to plant tomatoes, when we heard voices at the front door. I demand to see my children, she said. I have a court order. Robert had gone to work. We were alone. But I wasn't the same helpless woman from before. Kids, go inside the house, I said. Now. They obeyed. From the window, 3 scared little faces watched. At the front door were Valerie, a man I assumed was Mark, and a woman with a folder. Mrs. Hope, the woman introduced herself. I'm with social services. We received a report of child abuse and neglect against you. Of course, Valerie's counterattack. Perfect, I said calmly. Come in. Look at everything you want. Valerie smiled maliciously. I also reported that my husband is an alcoholic and violent, she said, and that you're covering for him. Mark added, we have witnesses who will confirm everything. Witnesses? I laughed. How much did you pay them? The social worker, a young woman named Patricia, seemed uncomfortable. Ma'am, I need to talk to the children alone, she said. Of course, I said. But first, can I show you something? I took out my cell phone and played a video. It was from day 3, when the kids destroyed my living room. You could clearly see how I remained calm while they acted violently. This is what Valerie calls abuse, I said. Not responding to violence with violence. Patricia watched intently. The kids did that, she asked. Ask them yourself, I said. Ask them why they did it. That doesn't prove anything, Valerie screamed. This old lady has them threatened. At that moment, Robert arrived. He had left work early. Behind him came the lawyer, Mr. Martinez, and to my surprise, Lisa from Child Protective Services. Patricia, Lisa said, greeting her colleague. What are you doing here? We received a report, Patricia said. Yes, we were notified, Lisa said. That's why I came. This family has been under my supervision for 3 weeks. I have a complete file. Lisa pulled out a thick folder. Psychological evaluations of the children, therapy reports, evidence of emotional abandonment by the mother, and attempts at international parental kidnapping. That's false. Valerie was losing control. We also have this, Robert said, taking out his cell phone. Recordings of Valerie admitting that the reports are false. He pressed play. It was a conversation between Valerie and Mark from that very morning, recorded because Mark, trying to save himself, had started recording everything. It doesn't matter if it's true or not, Valerie's voice said. I just need the social workers to believe me so I can get the brats back. With them in my power, Robert will give me whatever I want. Mark went pale. You told me you didn't know I was recording, he said. Idiot! Valerie slapped him. Patricia, the social worker, was speechless. Mrs. Valerie, this is very serious, she said. Filing false reports is a crime. I want to talk to my children, Valerie demanded. Talk to them, I said. But from here. Kids, you can come out. The 3 of them came out holding hands. They stood 10 feet away from their mother. Tell this lady the truth, Valerie ordered. Tell her how your grandma abuses you. Grandma taught us how to cook, Matthew said. Grandma listens to us, Sophia added. Grandma loves us, Diego concluded. You just use us. She brainwashed them. This is parental alienation, Valerie screamed. Lisa intervened. Mrs. Valerie, in my 20 years of experience, I have never seen a clearer case of projection, she said. You're accusing others of exactly what you do yourself. I have something else to show you, I said. I went inside the house and came out with a box. These are all the cards, drawings, and letters the children have made for me over the past few years that you threw in the trash, I said. I rescued them from the bin when I came to visit. Look at the dates. Patricia looked at the contents. There were dozens of discarded expressions of a child's love. For my grandma, who I can't see, she read from a letter from Sophia from 2 years ago. I miss you, but Mum says you're busy. There's also this, Robert said, taking out an envelope. The results from the private detective I hired Valerie has been living a double life, not just with Mark. She has profiles on 3 dating apps, all of them active. Mark exploded. What? You told me I was the only one. Shut up, you idiot. Valerie was cornered. Patricia closed her folder. I've seen enough, she said. Not only is there no evidence of abuse by Mrs. Hope or Mr. Robert, but there is clear evidence of manipulation and false reports by Mrs. Valerie. In addition, Lisa added, I'm going to recommend that the mother's visits be supervised and that the children continue in therapy. You can't do this, Valerie screamed. Yes, we can, Martinez said. And there's more. Mrs. Valerie, you're being sued for fraud. The banks have already been notified about the fraudulent credit cards. Valerie looked at me with a hatred that could melt steel. You, she said. This is all your fault. No, Valerie, I said. I just brought to light what you did in the darkness. That's when Mark spoke. I'm leaving, he said. Valerie, you lose. I'm not going down with you. You can't leave me, she cried. You promised we'd be together. You promised you were rich, that the house in Miami was yours. It was all a lie. Mark left, leaving Valerie alone in the yard. For the first time, I saw her as she really was, an empty woman who had bet everything on lies and had lost. You have 5 minutes to leave, Robert said. I'm calling the police today. Valerie approached the children one last time. Someday you'll understand what you did to me, she said. And you'll regret it. No, Diego replied with surprising maturity. Someday you might understand what you did to us, and I hope you regret it. Valerie left. This time she didn't slam the door. She left defeated, empty, alone. That night, while we were having dinner, Sophia asked, Do you think Mum will ever change? I don't know, my love, Robert replied, but that's not our problem anymore. Do you hate her? Matthew asked. I thought carefully before answering. I don't hate her, I said. I pity her. Imagine living your whole life without being able to truly love, without knowing true happiness. That's her prison, one she built for herself. 6 months later, it was a Saturday morning, and my house was filled with laughter. Not just from my grandkids, but from 6 other neighborhood kids. My living room, the same one that was once destroyed in a fit of rage, was now a small art studio. Grandma Hope, look at my painting. A 5-year-old girl showed me her work, a smiling sun over a house. After the scandal with Valerie, the story got out in the neighborhood. But instead of negative gossip, I received support. And when I mentioned that I missed teaching, the mums started asking if I would give private lessons. Now I had Hope's little art house. Classes in painting, crafts, and traditional cooking for children. I charged a fair price, $20 a class, but the real payment was seeing those happy little faces. Mom, Robert came in with coffee and cookies for everyone. He had changed so much. The exhausted, defeated man now smiled. He had gained healthy weight, and his eyes were sparkling. How's class going? He asked. Perfect, I said. Like everything lately. The divorce had been finalized 3 months ago. Valerie didn't fight anymore, especially after the banks sued her and she had to declare bankruptcy. The last we heard about her was from Sophia, who saw on Facebook that she was working as a caregiver for seniors in another city. The irony is delicious, Diego had commented when we found out. Now she has to take care of old people for $20 an hour. Don't make fun, I scolded them. Honest work is dignified. Maybe that will help her find herself. The kids had blossomed. Diego was on the honor roll, Sophia had joined the volleyball team, and Matthew had discovered a natural talent for music. My old piano finally had someone to play it. Grandma, Matthew came up to me during the class break. Can I ask you something? Of course, my love, I said. Do you ever miss the mum who she was before? Before what? I asked. Before she turned bad. I sat with him in the garden, the same one where everything had exploded months ago. Matthew, your mum didn't turn bad, I said. She always had that seed inside. The thing is that some people choose to water the wrong seeds. She chose to water greed, lies, and selfishness. And what seeds do we have? He asked. You have the seeds of love, honesty, and courage, I said. And every day you spend here, with your dad, with me, those seeds grow stronger. That afternoon, after all the kids had left, my family stayed for our traditional Saturday dinner. Robert cooked. He had discovered he had a talent for it. The kids set the table, and I enjoyed watching them. I have some news, Robert announced during dessert. I got a promotion, production manager. With the raise, I can pay off all the debt Valerie left behind in a year. Dad, that's amazing, Sophia shouted. And there's more, he said. I was thinking, Mum, what if we expand your little school? We could build a proper classroom in the garden. Robert, that's not necessary, I said. Yes, it is, he said. You saved my life, Mum. Me and my kids. It's the least I can do. Diego stood up. I have something to say too, he said. I wrote a letter for the school writing contest. It's about Grandma. He cleared his throat and read. My hero doesn't wear a cape or fly. My hero is 67 years old, has wrinkled hands from working so hard, and the biggest heart in the world. My hero is my grandma, who taught me that true love isn't bought with expensive gifts or luxury trips. It's built with patience, with boundaries, with presence. My grandma saved me from becoming a monster. She taught me that family isn't just blood, it's a choice. And I choose my grandma today and always. I couldn't hold back the tears. Neither could Robert. Even Sophia, who acted tough, cried. I wrote something too, Sophia said. But it's a poem. Once upon a time there was a lost girl, drowning in a world of lies. A grandma came with true love and showed her a genuine path. Now the girl is no longer lost, because she found love in her dear grandma. Matthew didn't want to be left out. I didn't write anything, he said, but I made you this. He took out a drawing. It was all of us in front of the house, holding hands. Above it, he had written in his child's handwriting, My real family. That night, after everyone went to sleep, Robert and the kids stayed on weekends, I went out into the garden. The full moon illuminated my tomato plants that were already starting to bear fruit. I thought about Michael, my husband. I did it, my love, I whispered. I raised our son, and now I'm raising our grandkids. Not as we imagined, but I'm doing it. I thought about Valerie, alone somewhere in the other city, taking care of seniors for a pittance. I hope you find peace, I whispered to the wind. I hope one day you understand that love isn't something you manipulate, it's something you cultivate. And I thought about myself, the retired teacher who didn't do anything anymore. I smiled. I had never done so much. I had never been so useful. I had never been so happy. The following Monday, while I was preparing for the next art class, I received an unexpected call. Mrs. Hope? A voice asked. This is the principal from Franklin Elementary. We heard about your little art school. We were wondering if you'd be interested in giving workshops here too. Paid, of course. Life was giving me back everything I had sowed, with interest. But the best reward came a month later. It was Mother's Day. I wasn't expecting anything. I had never really been celebrated on that day. That morning, the kids woke me up with breakfast in bed. Happy Mother's Day, Mum Hope, the three of them shouted. But I'm your grandma, I said. You're more than that, Robert said from the doorway. You're the mother we all needed. They handed me an envelope. Inside were legal papers. What is this? I asked. The kids want you to be their legal guardian too, Robert explained. In case something happens to me, they want to make sure they stay with you, not with Valerie. It was our idea, Diego clarified proudly. I cried. I cried like I hadn't cried since Michael died. But these were tears of pure joy, as we all ate breakfast together in my bed, which almost broke from the weight. Matthew asked, Grandma, are you happy? I looked around. My son was recovered. My grandkids were healing. My house was filled with life and purpose. I'm more than happy, my love, I said. I'm complete. And it was true. Because in the end, it wasn't Valerie who lost. It was us who won. We won freedom. We won peace. We won true love. The teacher had given her last lesson, but the learning would continue forever. Because that's what family is, a classroom where we never stop learning to love. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that it's never too late to defend what you love, if it inspired you to set healthy boundaries, share it. Leave a comment telling us where you're reading from. Sometimes the grandmas who seem to not do anything are the ones who hold the whole world up. And remember, respect isn't begged for, it's earned. And when someone doesn't offer it, it's time to demand it. Subscribe for more real-life stories where true love always finds a way to win.